The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this video are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Ctrl Indie and its owner. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The Ctrl Indie name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. All information, images, videos, or any multimedia content shown in this video is copyrighted. All rights reserved for DOSMan Games and Twisted Sickle, including its participants.
Hello everyone, my name is Juan Jose, and today I'm pleased to announce that I'm joined by Reverend game developer EMIL INDIE LEVIN and video game publisher DOSMan GAMES, Sam Marshall. How you doing, guys?
Good. It's been a hectic week thus far, but you know, it's good.
Very hectic, but very fun.
Can you tell us a little about yourselves?
I'm a fan of most creative things. Let's just put it that way. I like to look at myself as a jack of all trades, master of none. Because I've been jumping around, like trying music, trying filmmaking, now game development, and I'm mostly like done films or indie things, and therefore the indie in my name, because it was the one thing that really like defined me, no matter what creative thing I done. And yeah, that's me basically. Just making stuff all the time and hoping that someone else gets inspired or just want to take part of what I'm doing.
So my background is kind of more journalistic. So I've had a hand in a couple of different video game magazines, E1M1, Reload, and just towards the end of last year, I founded FearZ, which is devoted to indie horror games. And I spent so long looking at all of these awesome games that I wanted to start making them. So I'm going to try and not go off on a massive tangent here, but I started making awesome, I started making FPS games, and then kind of ended up discovering how I could do things, how I could help. And that's what led me to Reverend, and that's who I am today.
What are the primary sources of inspiration or influence on your work?
So I've always been fascinated with like games that nobody had ever told me is good. So during like the PS1 and then the PS2 when I was a kid, whereas everyone was telling me, "Oh, play Ratchet and Clank, play Tomb Raider," I was playing things like The Unholy War and Beatdown Fists of Vengeance. And I find that there's something so fun and so rewarding out of playing something with zero expectations, as opposed to going into something everyone's already told you is going to be amazing. And 90% of the time, you don't have a good time with it. But that 10% is worth striving for. So in terms of kind of, I guess my inspirations as I've entered game development, past few years I've been, I'd say, 85% boomer shooter, and then the rest is just these weird old games. And some of them that I play now are like were popular back in the day that I just missed out on. So being a millennial, I've just started playing Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh shit! Yes,
Yeah.
awesome.
Like a good one. Yeah.
I draw my inspiration from everywhere, but first-person shooters is my bread and butter, really, as us Brits say.
I grew up with like the Nintendo 64 and those kinds of consoles. We had a very like safe environment at home, in a sense. No violent movies or like no violent games until I became about early teens, somewhere there, when we started to like trade VHSs among each other with like imported movies. And to look back at it now, it's kind of funny to like just thinking about the first Mad Max movie was banned in Sweden first, and we didn't really have the censorship when I grew up, but the cassettes were still like, no, we can't release this. So there was a story in my hometown about that one unrated, uncut the VHS of Mad Max going around in this circle, and just the sneakiness and just trying to hide the fact that, oh, we shouldn't be watching this or we shouldn't be playing this, kind of shaped me into finding taboo objects really funny and interesting. And Doom came up, and my family was like, oh God, no, you blasting demons to hell, that you can't have that. And of course I just had to play that like all the time then. And it just snowballed from there. I got into really like cheesy 80s action and really the more horror movies actually. And I think that influence is certainly felt in Reverend. And when people started like not asking, but comparing Reverend to Blood, I felt like, no, like Blood is like the best of the holy trinity of build engine games. And I was like, no. Gameplay wise, it's a shooter, but it's highly different.
You can happily say that it's a better shooter than NAM.
oh yeah. I tested out NAM and the W2. Well, they did a World War II shooter as well. And
World War II TR,
yes, thank you. Awful games, but they're so charming as well. So I felt that if people can find some kind of love in games like Killing Time or the Capstone Tech War games or Witch Haven, perhaps I could capture something like that. And it seems like we've been able to do that. So I guess horror and just a lot of cheese. Right on top of that horror. That's my influences.
I remember at the time watching the graphics, like the people, like, the sprites, saying, wow, this is so futuristic. Like, I don't know, in 98. Like,
graphics won't get any better than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Mind-boggling.
They're mind-blowing. And I was like, wow, it can get any better than this. And nowadays, like 2024, you watch, you have that nostalgia for that, because nowadays, we have the Call of Duty, and and everything has to be HD and 4K, 8K, and whatsoever. But those simpler times were, for me at least, the Blood, Duke Nukem 3D, Rise of the Triad, Redneck Rampage, Tech War. That like those like that era of video games, for me at least, is not only a simpler time, but people also could appreciate the effort that the developers and publishers put on those gems. Because nowadays everyone is a game critic, not to offend anyone, but anyone can go to a Steam page and said, oh no, this game is too simple, no, the graphics are not appealing, or anything. And for me, at least, as a video game player, like, I don't know, almost 30 years playing video games and reading about this and seeing the medium grow. I'm going to talk about specifically boomer shooter games and the retro shooters that nowadays are like at the peak, because there's a lot of boomer shooters nowadays. For me as a video game player, it's amazing to see people like you guys who can grab that simple, how do you say, that simple gameplay and turn it into a full-on experience. I mean, the concept of DOSMan Games in this case, for making bite-sized boomer shooters, I mean, it's amazing, because people like me I have two daughters, I have to work at home, but my schedule is a little weird sometimes. So having 30 minutes, an hour, or an hour and a half to play something that makes you feel like, hey, I'm not trying to, how do you say, to get good on this. It's simple. Yeah, it's simple. Yeah, you open the game, play a little while, and that happens to me with Reverend. I opened the game and was like, hey, okay, this looks cool. Okay, let me play it. I purchased it, I install it, play it, and really like an hour and a half passed through, and I was like, that's it, I want more. Like, okay. And then I replay it, and like the third time I was like speed run it, and it was amazing experience. I went to the DOSMan Games Steam page, and I saw the other one that I bought yesterday, Flash of the Blade X, and I purchased it and I play it, and the same thing, half an hour, and I was like, no, I want more of this. So to capture that essence, that I'm going to tell it like the 90s essence in a way, it's amazing. So thank you guys for making this thing. So first of all, this is for indie. Where did the Reverend, the project start? How do you wake up one day and say, hey, I'm gonna make like a blood-esque like boomer shooter? Because it's not a easy task. You know, you don't wake up and, hey, I'm going to type something and the video game appears like out of nowhere. So where do you start in this case?
I honestly wish that I actually woke up and said, you know what, I'm gonna make a blood-inspired retro shooter. I really wish it worked that way. Yeah. It actually, that's the weird part. Sam finding the game and everything like made this into an incredible journey, really. Without him, the game wouldn't be anywhere where it is, actually. So having that now, being in that time period right now, and just thinking back about a year, a little more than a year, and the place I were at, like mentally, it's night and day difference. The short answer is that a lot of things and projects in my life at that time kind of fell through, and I was a bit fed up with that. But a couple of podcasts we had, and I really tried to get them going. We had an audience and everything, and then it just dropped because my co-host didn't want to do it anymore and didn't talk to me about it. And the other podcast, same thing. A short film I directed, we kind of clashed there as well. So it was a lot of things just not going my way. Work was bad, like everything just sucked. And I'm not a guy who takes things lightly when I'm feeling I'm getting kicked by life. So I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this now, are we? Okay, I'm gonna, the Futurama meme vendor is like, I'm gonna make my own casino, blackjack and hookers. Who get the blackjack? That was me. If I can't make that movie on my own, if I can't make that podcast on my own, I'm gonna make my own freaking game then. And if I had known how much job or work and hours I would have to put into it, well, now I would absolutely do it. But a month ago, I was like, I'm so happy I didn't know how much energy I would put into this. And it just started with, what do I like? And at the time I was playing a lot of boomer shooters, of course, and just loving it. Me and a friend had played through Blood actually on co-op. It was so much fun. And I'm not a very technical guy. I had never actually, except trying FPS Creator and RPG Maker back in the Windows XP days. I hadn't touched a game engine since then, except Unity for a couple of tests. So I got back into Unity just because I knew it was a pretty approachable engine. As you said, it's not easy, but it's way easier today to make a game. And I actually got quite far. I don't have any footage of it anymore, sadly. And the code base is so broken that I can't even open the project anymore. But it was basically a 2D, well, you know, Wolfenstein style, really locked grid and everything. Yeah. And that itself taught me, even if the project fell through, well, that version of it fell through, I realized that now I'm gonna need the mouse look. I'm gonna need to have the way more exploratory options. Yeah. And at that point, the game was actually called, I didn't have a name, so I just called it Fist. Because the first weapon I made was just my fist. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's a good code word. Okay, let's go with that. So I went into like GC Doom, and it didn't really click with me. I don't know why. It might have been like frustration and just, I need to like get this going now. That's the perfect way to enter game development. Make it happen now. There's not going to be any issues at all. But then I found the Easy FPS editor on itch.io and just started playing around with that. I kind of fell in love with how easy the process was. Just getting to throw something together and test it out. It was that instant gratification. And I got pretty severe ADHD, so it really helped me out. Yeah. So I had a framework, I had an engine that seemed to work pretty well. So I had to focus on making graphics. And I hadn't really done a lot of pixel art well at all. I had like tiny Mega Man characters and stuff, but nothing that would like fit the style I wanted to go with, because I knew I wanted to make it like atmospheric and a bit horror-ish. So pixel art, yes, no, out the window. At least for me, there's certainly someone who can make horrific pixel art and make it work, but I couldn't, at least not in a shooter. So I decided to go with like FMV style characters and such, because I wanted to really include FMV cutscenes from the start, like full motion videos like Phantasmagoria or Realms of the Haunting, if we're talking about FPS games. And I think you got one clip. I think you found one clip in the secrets thing in the local files of the game, where I show how I made at least one of the enemy sprites. And that's basically how it started. Just, what do I have? I have a camera. Well, that's gonna suck because it can record over 25 frames per second, and I'm gonna need like every frame I can get. So I use my phone, and that's the thing, you can just use what you have. So I kept making all the sprites that way, and then, you know, chugged along. That's basically it, learning by doing.
Was there any prior planning for it?
I was out of a job for quite some time at that point. I have pretty bad health issues, so my like work, not ethic, but my ability to work consistently can be quite fiddly if I'm not at home and can deal with my issues. So that was the perfect thing, really. Just get up in the morning, like 5 a.m., sit down, have a coffee, think through, oh yeah, I like need to do this, I need to do that, having a list, and just start to like check mark it, or what do you cross it off. And of course, you can always like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do that, and then I'm gonna have to do that. But that's again, that's snowball effect, can ruin the fun of it, I guess. Just having a starting point, just do this thing, put an enemy inside the game and being able to kill it. Great start. Everything I've done looks like shit, so I'm gonna have to redo it. But you have done that step, and then you can just improve. So yeah, I had a pretty strict schedule just to make it work, because I was the only one pushing myself to do this thing. And I was making it for myself to basically prove that I still had some passion and that I still could make a thing. And it turns out that it seems like I can do it somewhat.
At what point in the project, like, Sam enters the scene, so to speak?
Oh, ask him, because I really want to hear his perspective on it. We've talked a bit about it, but I was just flabbergasted when he actually reached out to me. So yeah, you this is your time to shine, Sam.
I think I reached out at the end.
Yeah, basically by the end.
The intended end.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So Reverend was on itch for a while, and had gone through a number of updates. I think it's, to this date, the only easy FPS editor game to go through early access.
Yeah, I guess, actually.
And yeah, basically, it'd gone through. I don't know when it first entered early access, when it was first playable for people, but I'd had my eye on it for a little while, but I hadn't got around to playing it yet. So eventually I started playing a bunch of different easy FPS editor projects, and just like recording little feedback clips based on what I'd been learning from making my games. And I think it was the third one that I recorded a video for was Reverend, and the whole way through I just had such a good time. Even when I was getting lost, I was just loving the environments and the vibes, and I had a brilliant time with it. And immediately, like, I think it was as soon as I finished, I was messaging people like, get me in touch with the creator of this game. It is like heinous that it's not getting the notice that it deserves, and it's just kind of sitting here lamenting. And I want to help. I want, if this is on Steam, people are going to notice that it's got such it's got an audience waiting for it. And yeah, that's where I came in, and then for a few months we've been working on updates, new sections, a ton of new secrets,
a completely new soundtrack. Parts.
And it's just meant that for the past couple of months I've got to play Reverend all the time, which it's a pretty good way to live.
Having that the experience of a friend on Discord sending me a message like, yo, a guy is looking for you. What are you talking about? And he sent me a screenshot like, is the dev in here? Like, yeah, I know him, I could put you in contact with him. Sure, okay, let's see what he wants. It's like, I want to publish this, and I was like, nah, he's trying to scam me. And I was kind of skeptical at first. Like I think everyone should be. It felt a bit like this is too good to be true situation. And I've done a couple of short films and such that got picked up, so I had experience of dealing with contracts and watching out for scammers and everything. So when Sam sent me the contract, he like drafted up, are you okay with this? Does this look good? Like, bro knows what he's doing. It's like, this is real. It's actually like a really great contract and everything. And I just checked out DOSMan Games and like, yeah, okay, he's published stuff, he's done stuff. Awesome. And just watching the video as well, it's like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. It feels good, great feedback and everything. And then we started that journey. Really, it felt a bit weird because we hadn't talked a lot. We didn't talk until like a couple of weeks into the cooperation, really. Just sitting down and speaking to each other, I think It wasn't that I was unsure of him, but it was that, okay, now it clicked. This guy, he gets it. He understands what I'm going for, and I love the philosophy of bite-sized. My idea was really to just make a short experiment kind of project, see what can I do, and almost leave it at that. Of course, like releasing an update further down the line, but I was quite happy where it was. But when Sam came in and like, yeah, I really like this and we should get it out there, I was like, oh shit, we're gonna have to make some improvements. So seeing the game grow from what it was to what it is now has been bizarre, to say the least, in the best way possible. Having people reach out and even before release, just seeing like the trailers and the promos, Sam has been like pushing it and everything, and get that feedback has been wonderful. And I've really had to like, okay, ego check all the time. No, it's not that good. I don't think people are not gonna pay for this. I'm a bit lost for words actually to really put it into context. I think we're still in the middle of it, but we're above that first hurdle of, are people going to accept this? And they have.
And now there's a guy from the other side of the world playing it and talking to you. Like, imagine that.
Oh no, I absolutely not imagine that. That's just having someone reach out and I want to talk to you, and like, oh yeah, oh, it's a 6-hour time difference, huh? Oh, it's insane. It's lovely. I'm so thankful.
Is there a process between scouting and publishing a game?
It does hinge on that first playtest, really. So I'll play a demo, or in the case of Reverend, the full release.
We can't call it that anymore.
And then from there, it's just a case of tracking the person down, getting a feel for their vibe, seeing if there's chemistry there, if we have the same vision for the project, and then from there, it's just a case of okay, let's get together all these assets to get it live. I'll write a store description. And yeah, it was very much, I think, a collaborative process of making the page really stand out as much as we could. I've released a couple of games on Steam prior as well, so it's not an overly complicated process, but I think it's quite fun to see it all kind of come together. And especially once you hit the big green release button, seeing people start to notice and seeing reviews come through, it's really awesome. It's really awesome.
Are there any financial costs involved in the production of these independent games?
Steam do require a fee for you to list your game on their store, and then they take a cut as well. So it's not like free per se. I'd say if you are going to be publishing a game on Steam, you need to push it, you need to market it in some way. My first release on Steam, Flash of the Blade, before it was Flash of the Blade X, I was very, very much learning the ropes, and I don't think it earned back its Steam fee within the first 2 months. So after that, it's done okay. A big reason I did Flash of the Blade X is because I wasn't too happy with it, and I really wanted to update it, and I worked with the artist that we have at DOSMan Games, Fred Ritchie, to remake it completely and try and make it a lot better. But I think that if you've got the right project and the right marketing behind it, it's so worth it. It's such a bigger audience than you get on Itch or Game Jolt. It's very worth it.
Is the way you get to promote your games a paid one or an organic one? In example, Twitter or Instagram or Discord?
It's been 100% organic. We've been doing Twitter posts. We've been talking about it in different Discords as well, and getting it into a few different showcases. Like we had it covered in Slim Bratsky's Summer FPS Showcase, which is our biggest spike, and then we got it into a few different horror showcases as well. Nothing paid, but a lot of legwork.
Sam has actually done. I think it's hard to really put it in words, but an insane amount of work to get it out there, and the success is, of course, the game. I've spent a lot of time and work on the game, but without that legwork, it wouldn't be nowhere near where it is now.
Would you change anything now that the game is out?
I think if any one of us said, "Oh no," it would be a lie. It's like you always see things you want to change or update, or like, yeah, I could make that thing better. And the best part about making games today is that you can update it, you can patch it, but there's a danger to it as well. Changing the formula too much. Are you gonna push away the fans? Or no? Okay, I'm not gonna. That's the first time I said fans. I'm never gonna say fans. I really don't like the idea of me having something called fans. Players and viewers, that's fine. The fans, that if I say that, my ego is through the roof, and I'm not gonna allow it to happen.
Disciples.
Hey,
Exactly,
that's more
exactly.
soothing. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Praise me, oh Lord. I think the ones that came in from the top are the ones who show the game like true love. I'm not saying that people finding it further down the line won't love it or like it, but I think it's so important to really see what are people liking and what are they disliking, and try to just patch. That's the thing, patch it up. Just make the foundation work and keep it that way. Not like making an entirely new game if they like what's there from the start. Flash of the Blade X is like a vastly different game from the original, which makes it a completely new experience.
Yeah.
Reverend, dare I say, we have it. Like we got the foundation there enough to just fix some holes, fix some glitches, and then let that project be. And I've seen so many things that I want to change, and I've also seen a lot of things that we can change in the future, in future projects, but not necessarily with the engine version where Reverend is built on and such. So there's a balance of technical limitations, skill issues. Hello, my first game, and just I like to think about the process like, when you're first making the concept, allow yourself to be drunk. Just like throw every idea out there, like see what sticks to the wall and just have fun, go at it. And then when you're done with that, pull it back in, put it back into that box, and just, what can I do with this? Work with the limitations and not against them. Because if you try to work against them, you're just going to get pissed and it's not going to end up well. But compromising and just finding a way to deliver what you want while keeping the vibe as close as possible to the vision you're having, and not the original vision necessarily, but when you're like, okay, I'm going for this, and try to stick on that, not letting feature creep or scope creep take over. I've had so many ideas about, I want to add another enemy post-launch, and I've been. Sam actually brought that up early on. He's like, could we like perhaps add a few levels? And I think I didn't even have time to answer before I saw his writing again, like, the map in game is like shows all the stops, and then by the end I didn't want to like spoil how many levels were left in this other world. it's unclear how many levels there is in the end, but adding more levels would demand like redoing the map just to make it make sense, I guess. And he was like, no, that's not worth it. And I was so happy he said that, because I had set the scope. No, I'm having these levels and it's going to be like an hour, and that's fine. I want to move on to the next thing. Not abandoning it, but move on.
I just wanted to play with the textures, really.
Yes, those really, those textures, all of them have been, especially on the fleshy side, has been like the most fun I've ever had in Photoshop. That I can tell you that. Just coming up with messed up things to look at is lovely.
There are enemy sprites that, correct me if I'm wrong, there are your hands, right? Some enemies is like yeah. I was playing the other day, and I stand and watch this sprite like for a whole minute, and I was like, is that hands? Like, yeah.
Oh no, you caught me.
Stay tuned for the foot monster in Reverend 2.
Oh, that would be freaky though. I'm putting that idea inside that drunk box. We're gonna bounce it around and see what happens. The most both exhausting and like most humbling thing ever was the same day we released it. Like during the evening, I got multiple server messages and such, DMs, like Reverend 2 when? And I'm like, I have it. We just released this. Give me like just 5 minutes. But of course, we did actually that final teaser level, that really short, where you're not meeting the bishop, but you're getting like presented to his holographic image. That was a last-minute addition, just to not just end on to be continued, but give something a little bit more fun.
A bit Star Wars, a bit special.
Oh yes! Oh no! Yes, I'm gonna have to like do some HD updates, HD sprites. I'm gonna
Texture packs.
Yeah. I'm gonna put some nice CG models in there. It's gonna be great. No, I really had to stop myself from adding too many things because it's just so much fun, and I'm honestly, I'm gonna be a bit egotistic there. I kind of love the world of Reverend, and it's so much fun that some people, you are one of them, actually cared enough to like, oh yeah, that's some lore. There's some lore here. There's something here, and that kind of warms my heart a lot. Because I even if some enemy sprites are my hands going this like that, there's still some thought to where should I place them, where in the world do they like fit. I couldn't just throw that guy in like the first level. It would be like, what the is this? I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, there's been a lot of work to just fit it all together. A lot of thought went into it.
Do you have any tips for indie developers on their way into the world of game development?
I mean, what I did with my first project is I, instead of leaning to my strengths, I went away from my weaknesses. So the first thing I ever worked on was concrete visions, and that's got digitized sprites as well, albeit much crunchier than Reverend. I can't art at all. Like, so one of my immediate thoughts was, how can I account for the fact that I can't do any art? And I was like, okay, I'll take photos. How can I account for the fact that I don't know how to program? I'll use Easy FPS Editor. I very much learned away from my weaknesses while working towards my strengths. I think that's what really helped me pick things up and learn quite fast.
Yeah, I honestly can't say, and I don't have anything to add to that. That's like a brilliant way to put it. Lean away from your weaknesses, because even if you know your strengths, it can be hard to actually know or feel that, I'm so good at art, I can focus on that. No, it's rather, I'm really bad at art. So what can I do to counter that? And that's a brilliant way to approach anything, I think. When it came to Reverend, a lot of it, I poured a lot of work into the personality of it. And just the vibe and atmosphere, because I knew if I'm gonna make like a ultra kill style or dusk style kind of like gameplay game, I'm screwed from the beginning. It's not gonna work. So I kind of had to lean into, okay, I'm kind of good. I had that mindset then, but I'm gonna do the other one. But I'm kind of good at making art, not drawing, but taking photos and perhaps touch them up in Photoshop. So that's what I did. And I think it's just about not waiting for the opportunity, because that rarely just comes up. If you want to do anything creative that has some ambition, there's going to be a lot of hard work. You can't really get away from that. And it's not going to be fun all the time. It's not going to be something you want to do every morning, like a bad winter, nothing works, everything is cold, you hate life. And then you're going to have to sit down and like work on broken scripts for a week.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the process. Kind of need to not learn to love it, but just realize that and if I really hate that saying that anything that's easy to have or easy in life isn't worth having. That's not, I'm not saying that, and I don't agree with it. But it's the thing with blood, sweat, and tears. If you put so much of yourself into something, you're going to go through the fire, and metaphorically. And Reverend was like my Dante's Inferno in a lot of cases, and I'm so happy that I came out of it on the other side a stronger, wiser, I hope, person, and not just like, philosophically I'm a better man. No. I know what lessons I learned. I know exactly what to do and not to do when we're moving on to the next thing, and just having that with me is incredible, because now I know what to do now. I know the basics. I don't have to break my game 105 times to like, I shouldn't have put a dot there. So I don't want to just like spoil or say too much, but the next things are probably gonna come out a lot quicker and hopefully less buggy. That's the wish, at least. Just make that's the thing. Just make
and be happy with it.
And just move along and do another thing. I don't think we really had any like really bad bugs at launch. Sam had to deal with me panicking a couple of days before, just trying to reach that state where we felt that this is a releasable freaking game. And a couple of days before it kind of was, but I'm not going to say what it was, but I did a big bad boo-boo. And we had posted that version, and we just playing through it one morning and realizing that, I messed up. But we made it, and because of that, there are no like game crashing bugs. And even some streamers who played it on stream, of course, post-launch, were like, I'm gonna show this bug or glitch I found. And one of them, I actually had like put a wall up with a text saying, what did you expect to find here, a glitch? Not anymore. And it got such a laugh during the stream, and sitting there and like just seeing the both the streamer having so much fun at like, I tried to best the developer, but he bested me, like subversion, and the audience just going along with it. That was amazing. So there's no great game crashing bugs, at least.
Now that you both of you, like DOSMan Games and Twisted Sickle, like published this game and people are reacting to it. So what's next for Twisted Sickle and for DOSMan Game? I know DOSMan Games upcoming releases are Reaper and Aliens in Space, I think it is.
So we've got Reaper, which is coming out in the fall, and then we've got DOSMan Space Aliens in Space, which is coming at some point next year. We've also got another couple of projects which are under the hood at the moment, and a couple of other.
Okay.
A couple of other published titles that we're looking at as well. So, yeah, I don't think Reaper will be our next title, as we have something planned in between that. But yeah, that's the DOSMan calendar for you.
We're actually we haven't talked about it yet, but we're I don't know if we have the time today, but we're gonna like talk through a couple of things because the reception has changed my priorities a bit. Of course I want to like I want to try to make a couple of other styles or genres of games as well. I've been working on a point and click adventure for a while that had to take a backseat to just like polish up Reverend for release. I really want to get working on something more in the world of Reverend, but I also think that I need to take a little bit of a step back, just not for a long time, just to like decompress, collect all the feedback, see what worked, what did people like, what did I enjoy with it, what do I think works, but what didn't click with the audience, and just refine it, I guess, or like boil it down and see, okay, this is the thing that works. Now, what can we make out of that? And I'm so excited to like get working on another project. Of course, I got like 5 prototypes just waiting, and I've been playing around with them, but nothing that I'd say, yeah, you can expect a release by Halloween. No, not really. Yeah, exactly, early access, a leaked prototype.
Yeah.
No, it's I got a few ideas, and I think it's gonna be while it might be a shooter that comes next, it might be quite different in both like pacing and lore wise. Let's just stay with there for the moment. For the time being, that's yeah.
Do you have anything you would like to tell your fans or followers?
I kind of love the idea now that Sam said that they're not fans, they're disciples.
Disciples,
that's a nice
way
workaround. Thank you. It feels like I've said that to everyone a million times this week. But with, of course, all the work we put into it, all the effort would be not in vain, but kind of, if people hadn't like picked it up or shown any interest. And seeing the overwhelming love and support has been a bit of a shock, actually, and not in a bad way, but I've been like sitting here just watching stream after. I think the first day I was sitting at the computer like 15 hours just answering messages, was watching, jumping from stream to stream to stream, and just like soaking it in, and like people are actually playing this, people are actually enjoying this, and Sam and I are sending messages like, have you seen this, have you seen that, and we're still doing it, and it's baffling, and thank you all. Without that support, why wouldn't we, why shouldn't we care? Like we care a lot, and we want to deliver, especially to the busy dads and moms and people in the world, yes, these bite-sized games, because I think I'm feeling really comfortable in that space, just delivering quick and fun punches of enjoyment. So yeah, please just watch out. No, watch out sounds like a threat. I mean, watch for more games. That's
Watch out, buy my game.
yeah, punch if you don't buy my game. That's
Thank you guys for making. Thank you DOSMan Games for publishing these type of games. Thank you Indie for making Reverend. It's really nice to see that the community, the gaming community, can have this type of experiences. Not everything has to be AAA sheen all over the place and patches like 30 gigabytes patches and early access is sort of no. So thank you very much for your work. I'm hoping, and I know people are hoping to expect more games in the future, and yeah, and thank you, like really thank you for your time in this interview. Thank you for chatting with me, and thank you for, because people are gonna see this interview and I know they're gonna say like, hey, anyone can make a game, anyone can be happy with the project that they're working on, anyone can be, like, I can't make stuff and people could love this stuff. So thank you really thank you guys for having the times to talk to me today.
it's an honor just to be asked.
Thank you very much. That concludes our interview with Twisted Sickle and DOSMan Games. Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode, and I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And don't forget to follow the developers on the social networks of your choice. My name is Juan Jose, and see you next time.